Hey guys, welcome back to A3's video series, Safe and Secure. My name is Alexis.
And I'm Kevin.
How are you doing, Kevin?
I am doing great. How about yourself?
I'm good. I have a question for you this week. So,
Okay.
What is your favorite college football team and why?
Oh, it's got to be my dogs. I'm born and raised from Augusta, so Georgia Bulldogs. Hopefully, they pull out a national championship this year.
Hopefully, my mom went to USC, so I'm always going to be a Gamecock fan until I die. But even through the trials and tribulations of the Gamecocks, as we all know, I still have to be a diehard fan. So we are back with David Tonsberg this week again, where he discussed his experience in the security industry for, over 3 decades, and also, his comments and, his view on some of the things going on in the security industry.
Yeah, you're going to hear David talk a lot about kind of going from, I guess, beta and VHS all the way through to the digital world that we live in today.
Awesome. Well, without further ado, here is David Tonsberg's second video for Safe and Secure.
So 33 years in the industry, I believe is what you said.
Yeah, seems like yesterday.
You've probably seen a couple of changes, if I had to guess. What do you think is one of the bigger issues? Let's do it twofold. What was one of the bigger issues that you can think of 30 years ago in the security versus what do you see as one of the bigger issues we're dealing with today?
To take a walk back in time is pretty incredible. When I first started working in this industry, there were really only 2 distributors, and the second one was brand new. They had just come into the market. So we were really manufactured direct on a lot of everything. And burglary panels were tape recorded on a piece of tape, like a VHS tape, but more like a cassette tape. And we recorded the messages on it. So when you would go through the front door and the system was armed with a key switch, not even a keypad. And I mean, I feel freaking old talking about this. And I'm not that old, even though I have 6 grandkids. I'm really not that old. But we armed the panel, and it had a red and green LED. You turn the thing, and it turned red, and your home alarm system was armed. And there was a bell on the side of your house. It wasn't even a siren.
Yep.
And then when you broke in the house, or you forgot to turn the alarm, and when you came in the house, it would seize the normal telephone line, the plain old telephone line, and it would dial the number, and the tape would start playing like a cassette tape on a Sony Walkman, except much more archaic. And so I don't know that was a huge thing, but to see how fast we went into processor-based static RAM, and how small everything got so quick, we didn't know. Change became more of the norm faster. So I think 30 years ago, we were still looking at Vidicon and Ultracon 2 cameras. I experienced us leaving gas-charged glass tubes in a camera body that big, and housings, even bigger, to charge coupled chip devices, that was just a small postage stamp of a chip, and the cameras got immediately 20% of the size that they were at the tube level, and that was still black and white. We hadn't even got to color yet. By the time I was, and it happened quick. Once we got to the chip, once we went from tube to chip, we went to color quickly. It was probably within 3 or 4 years max, but I don't have the timeline on that. And so we never really saw incredible challenges. We weren't faced with a myriad of technology choices that we have today. There weren't as many manufacturers. There was hardly anything from China. I mean, China wasn't in the game at all. We didn't have any competitive pressure on us between Japanese-built products and American-built products. It was really more like Japanese, German, and American. maybe some British stuff thrown in there occasionally. So I think the difference between today and 30 years ago is really the level of competition and the amount of technology available. You know, you look at all the things that we didn't have then. We were still, hell, we had just left rotary dial phones. We were still, we didn't have a remote control for the television for the most part. I mean, people were just, they thought you were fancy. You know, if you had a Sony Trinitron and an IR remote for your TV. So the game has changed drastically, and I think that we need to be aware of that, how far we've come and how quick we got there, because we're leaving a lot of things in our dust. We've got a lot more trash to deal with these days. We've got a lot more things to recycle. And a lot of the problems that we have are the ones we created for ourselves. There were a lot less problems 30 years ago, and there were a lot less decisions to be made.
Right. Yeah. The times have definitely changed. No doubt.
Yeah.
What do you think, physical security wise, what do you think your end customers, some of the bigger things they need to be thinking about? I mean, you mentioned the China camera, or Chinese not having cameras back 30 years ago. And there's some, you know, the feds have banned a bunch of Chinese equipment, and, you know, we do have a ton of options now. What's one of the bigger things or bigger threats or technology upgrades that you think people really need to be looking at?
I try not to think that I know anything other than I think that business needs to understand value of what something solves or how it makes their business more efficient. And I believe that surveillance does that for some things, but it doesn't do anything in general. It just makes us feel better about what's going on. When you have access control involved, you're actually controlling that door. When you have a camera at the door with the access control, you have better audit trail. When you have a camera and an access control door, when you have an access control door, a camera at that door, and you have an intercom station, you now have all the dimensions of having the perfect storybook, because you have the audio, you have the transaction as it took place, and you have a recorded video of that. So it all comes together a lot more easy. So does that make your business better? Does that make it more effective, more efficient? Does it make it liability free? Do we solve the problems or likelihood of risk? Are we eliminating that or reducing it enough to say that was worth it? So my job, as I see it, is just to help everybody. If you've got to do that, remove the risk, and that is the story that you're looking to tell, then how do we do it and not fail at doing it? How do we put the best of all things into that business and have it work the best it can work for them, so that they're happy and they want to do that again when they open their next business in Georgia and their next business in Tennessee and so on. That's the experience that we're looking for. I don't believe every business or every individual has the need for a high-end integrated security system. Sometimes it's just you need a camera at your front door to make sure UPS delivers your package and nobody takes it. Maybe that's all there is. There's no reason to put a Schlage lock on the door and also have an intercom station. Maybe it's just the camera. So hopefully that makes sense. And
yeah, no, I absolutely love that because you're spot on. Every business, every entity, whether you're state, local, education, or a private corporation, top 500, or a mom and pop, you're going to have a unique situation to you. And you can't do it individually by yourself, and I can't do it individually myself with A3. And that end customer can't do it all either. But together, we can come together for a total solution that's going to make sense for their individual circumstance, and keeping in mind what that ROI is. And obviously, private business, what's their ROI? It's bottom line. It's profit margin. A school district, for example, their ROI is going to be number of students graduating on time, and those kind of things. So yeah, I absolutely love that. Well, David, we're about out of time today. thank you so much for participating and being a part of this. And I think we're going to continue this and look forward to some other conversations, a little deeper dive into some of the things you talked about. So
That would
again,
be great. I'd love to do that.
So thanks a lot for being with A3 and me today. Appreciate you, bud.
Awesome.